Hey everyone, so I've received some requests on doing makeup for like work office, or interviews. So this is the look I came up with. Of course, you know, this is something that I would wear, but really this is just a really basic look that could work for all different kinds of situations. So I hope you enjoy it. So you do want to start off with a, prepped face, moisturize, have your SPF on. And then I'm going to apply concealer underneath my eyes and onto any dark areas. I'm just using this Maybelline Dream Mousse concealer. I believe this is discontinued, so you could use any kind of concealer. You could use a cream one or a liquid one, whatever you prefer. I'm just going to make sure to pat that underneath the eyes to make sure you look lively and awake. And I'd like to apply all around my eye area. But like my eye area and like the rest of my face is a different color, so I'm just kind of trying to balance that out a little. Then I want some right around my nose area too, because it tends to be dark around there. Just make sure you blend it out. Since I'm going to be using a powder foundation, I'm not going to be getting that much coverage. So I'm kind of just doubling up the coverage that I want in areas that I would with the concealer instead. Tends to be red underneath my nose area. So I'm just brightening that area up. And underneath my mouth is always really dark. Right, now that I've brightened up certain areas of my face, I'm going to go into the mineral foundation, and I'm actually just using my old Everyday Minerals foundation in Golden Medium Intensive, which is the formula type. And I haven't used this one in a while actually. I often do use like a tinted moisturizer or something, but just for the purpose of this video, it's kind of like a 2-in-1 foundation and powder set, so I'm just going to use that and just buff this into my skin. This color is definitely a bit darker than my skin, you'll notice. I've gotten a lot paler this winter, or this past winter. It's almost spring now. And this isn't going to give you as heavy of a coverage, which would be a good thing because you don't want to look like you have a mask on. So it's going to give you a really natural, even coverage. Make sure you set everywhere that you applied the concealer. I'm going to go ahead and go into my brows. You want your brows to look neatly groomed. You don't want them, they don't need to be overly defined and dark, but you just want them to look neat. I'm going to be using this Maybelline eyeshadow palette in Time for Wine for my eyeshadow and my brows. So let's go into my brows. I'm just going to grab a slanted brush, and I'm going to grab the darkest color. And I'm just going to start by kind of like outlining underneath the brow. It's okay if the outer tail is darker, but you don't really want this front part to be too dark. But I would just focus more on filling in the areas that are pretty sparse, and you can just be really quick with it. And then for the front part, just lightly sweep it through. Next, I'm going to apply Urban Decay Primer Potion all across my lids and underneath the lower lash line too. You want to make sure that your eye makeup stays put and that you don't look like a raccoon by the end of the day or the end of the interview. So that's important. So just spread that all over. I'm going to go in with this like really light kind of taupey brown shade, and it's just very, very subtle. Any kind of like light medium brown would work great too, and I'm just going to brush that across the lid. I'm just using this fluffy blending brush. But just apply that all over. You can feel it sinking and right into where your eye socket is, and you can just stop around that area. I'm actually going to line my upper lash line, and I'm using Bobbi Brown's gel liner in Violet Ink. It's a gorgeous color. So instead of going really dark with like a black, I'm going to use a violet instead. You can also use like a dark brown, whatever you prefer. And I'm using an angled brush to apply this. So I'm just going to apply this across my upper lash line. Keeping it thinner on the inner part and then just thickening it on the outer edge. And then whatever you have remaining on the brush, you can apply to your lower lash line, but just apply it very lightly. And I'm just going to apply it on the outer half. I'm going to take like a short shader brush like this and then go into just that really light brownish shade and apply this underneath my lower lash line. Not only is this going to set the liner and just kind of like soak up any oils so that, you know, it won't smudge as easily, but it's also going to soften up that lower liner because you don't want it to be too dark. Next, I'm going to take a mix of these two darker colors, just with that same brush, and I'm going to add more definition to the outer corner here. And you can also just kind of like go right over the liner. But I'm just kind of like working on the outer edge here and just dabbing it on. And you can also move upwards. So do the same on this side. Just start by going kind of like across the outer lid area, and then you can slowly bring it upwards here. Grab your blending brush, just blend it all in. So as simple as that. Okay, so this camera is just driving me crazy, but it stopped quite a few times, and I already did a few stops, but all I did was apply the highlight on my inner corner and then a little bit, like just using my finger, dabbing a little bit on the center part of my lids, on the upper part. And then I also just grabbed a fluffy brush and just highlighted underneath my brow bone just to kind of blend it all in, highlight, you know, certain areas to brighten up the eye area. Try not to go with anything too frosty, so that's just really simple. And then I just curled my lashes, applied the Maybelline One by One mascara because it's quick and easy and clump free. So it just gives a, you know, really nice clean look, and it's, you don't have to worry about it clumping and, or, you know, especially if you're in a hurry, so that's nice. And then I applied a lip liner, which is recommended if you're going to be wearing a darker lip color. I'm not going to be, but I just wanted more definition on my lips. So I used Estee Lauder's Spice Rider. I just lined around my lips and then just kind of faded it inwards a little, and that's it. And then now I'm going in with this lipstick, which is more of like a tinted lip color in Saint Coral. And I'm going to use like that old trick where you use the lipstick as a blush as well as a lip color. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use my fingers and then apply this on my cheek as like a blush color. And you want to make sure you blend that out really well, or otherwise it could look crazy. And then I'm just going to dab a little bit on my lips. And you do want to set that blush so it doesn't move. So I'm just going in with MAC's blot powder and the brush from earlier. And I'm going to just kind of blot my face first since I have oily skin. So just kind of blot everywhere. And then just lightly blot over the blush. So that's nice and set. And you're done. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.